Hi, thanks for tuning in again. This is Danielle, and this is week 8 of the short video series, Why Jesus? Today I'm going to talk about something I learned in church on Sunday, and it was about God just being silent in our lives and why that's important. You might think that's kind of funny, like why would God be silent? Why wouldn't He speak to us all the time or give us signs or something to show that He is who He says He is? But God actually at times wants to humble us and have us just to come back to Him and just really truly listen. And there's times where I pray all the time, God, give me this, give me that. When's this going to happen? It should have already happened by now. But God shows me all the time that His timing is better than my timing. I think so many times that there's so much noise in this world that we don't know how to just sit in silence. And silence is so key because we just really find who we are in that time. And I think that God never tells us that life is always going to be great and that everything's going to turn out the way that we always hope for. But it's in moments where we don't know what direction to go and we're asking God, give us a clear sign of where to go. If He always showed us every time, oh, do this, Danielle, or go this way, if I heard His voice all the time, I wonder how much I rely on Him or if I take Him for granted or my relationship with Him. And so it's not easy during those moments of silence when I'm trying to get direction from God or an answer to my prayer. But what I do find is that He always shows up in the right timing. Like I said, recently when I felt that God was being silent, I had a couple rough days, and I finally just said, all right, God, I give it to you. I want to be closer to you and whatever that looks like. And then my preacher talked about this on Sunday and used this example of in the book of Luke, in the first chapter, it's actually in the New Testament, there was a couple named Elizabeth and her husband, Zechariah, who were older in their years, advanced in their years, as it says. And they tried to conceive, and they never could have a child. So they felt like God was cursing them because they would pray, God, please give us a child, please give us a child. And they never were able to conceive. So they felt like God was punishing them. And one day, God or an angel spoke to Zechariah and said, you will have a child with Elizabeth. And he was just so amazed at what he heard that actually he became mute. And he didn't actually speak again until they had their son, which they named John. And see, what was important about John was that John was a disciple or a follower of Christ. And he paved the way for Jesus and to talk about Jesus. And when the time came, he actually baptized Jesus. And so he was a great, great friend and loved Jesus so much. And the timing of his birth was perfect in God's timing versus what Elizabeth and her husband thought would be good when they prayed earlier on when they were younger to have a child. But God knew that the timing of John being lined up with the timing that Jesus was coming to the world was perfect. And I think that's what I am reminded of often is that even though, I don't hear an answer from Him right away, I have to believe and trust that His timing is perfect. So even if John was born 10 years before Jesus, the whole story might look completely different. But the fact that Elizabeth and her husband had John at the time that Mary had Jesus, that was what God had planned this whole time. So it's God's divine timing that is beautiful. And we need to be grateful for moments of silence. We're hustling and bustling all the time. And so let's be real. It's hard to just be silent. But maybe God is silencing you in this time, or maybe He's being silent in your life. But don't take that as a bad thing. Be thankful for that. And be thankful in knowing that your prayers will be answered, whether it's the way you hope for or not. But say, God, and your will be done when you do pray, because I've noticed that your will be done, Lord, or I say, God, in your timing, or God willing. And when we say those powerful prayers, He does hear our hearts, and He will bless us. So I just wanted to share that story about John, and just say that even though I heard silence, it was really cool. Just a couple days ago, I was driving, and I just said, God, I know sometimes I feel like you're somewhat being silent. And then I heard that sermon on Sunday, and I was like, wow, he really spoke to me. And then I asked for a sign from God like weeks ago, and I never got anything. But just a few days ago, I got this beautiful rainbow as I was driving. There's no rain in sight. It hasn't rained in a few days. And there's just this beautiful rainbow as I was driving for a good 15 minutes. I was able to look at it. And I thought, rainbow means peace and for a prosperous future, that God is with us and that he's already paved the way. And that was just very, very comforting to me. So anyway, thank you, and tune in next week. And after next week, and I'm going to take off about 2 or 3 weeks due to the holidays, but just continue to check back in, and we'll continue this short video series, Why Jesus? Thank you.